that swung the game in their favor. But again, credit to Los Grandes. They kept their foot on the gas. They played out their mid game really, really well. And they're doing, again, trying to do largely the same thing here. Now, for Furia, let's talk about it. Vi, very, very strong pickup here. But again, you're fighting into a Thresh, right? Which it's not the most defensive support, but you've got opportunities to shield Natuno. Now, he has gone Flash Ghost here, foregoing the cleanse. What say you to that?
I think that's very high risk for Natuno. I'm curious what he's afraid of. It feels like when you're taking the Ghost for AD carries, you're thinking a lot about repositioning, being able to kite back. And when I look at what Furia brought to the table, Rakan and Vi, you can't really ghost away from that. Rakan's mobility is just too quick. The Ghost is not going to save you from that. And for Vi, it's point and click. If I are you, you can run as far as you want. Unless you're near your turret,
I'm coming with you.
Anyway. Yep, exactly. Even then, I'll be diving into turret if need be. It's a one-way trip. So I'm not a huge fan of the Ghost defensively. But offensively, if they start winning fights, it's going to be great to run the enemy team down. Especially when you look at Los Grandes and realize that they don't have a lot of engage options. Their big engage is going to be Hirit trying to find a Mega Gnar. And we saw last game he got one multi-man Gnar off. That is not ideal numbers. Your alternative is Gravitum from Natuno, getting a Moonlight Visual of Gravitum to lock people down. And perhaps it's what they're thinking. We want to play more aggressively with this Aphelios. We need to be setting up plays. And we think we have enough defensive peel with the Thresh, with the Maokai.
Yeah, and you got enough defensive peel, but you've got enough kind of, like, it's not a Glacial Prison, right? It doesn't come out as quick, but around objectives, the Maokai ult, the advantage that it does have is you don't have to be as precise on it, right? You could just kind of throw it in a general direction. You're going to hit somebody because it covers just so much ground. And with enough cohesion, look, you don't have to rely as much on the Mega Gnar, but the onus, the emphasis is a little more on that this time around. I do agree with you. But the concerns you brought up about Natuno and the Ghost is exactly kind of what I was thinking. I'm like, look, these are pretty kind of, these life comes at you fast, and Vi and Rakan come at you even faster, right? Talking about this mid lane matchup. I mean, let's see if Lava can, get the better of him here, right? This isn't you didn't pick this kind of a hard counter, or at least I didn't see it that way, right? You picked this to just kind of run the same identity that you had beforehand, right? I think if LeBlanc wasn't banned, could see him running that again.
Yeah, it's more of that utility pickup. Though I actually would love to see Lava build more damage-oriented rather than utility this game, because the composition from Fury has changed a lot. They now have skilling on their side. They don't have to rush the game. It's not like the meatball composition, which spikes in the mid game and then falls off damage-wise towards the late game. You've got Trigo and Envy on hyper-scaling champions. So for Envy, he just needs to sit back and hit that huge damage spike. Trigo, as well, outranges the Aphelios. That's why we're calling for it in game one. And who's going to kill Trigo? Hirit's going to have hard enough time finding an engage, much less a true flank into the backline. So it's got to be Lava finding these kills onto Envy, onto Trigo. If Lava builds utility, I am worried that Furia just roll over you in front to backs.
Yeah, well said. Let's see. Does the commencing stopwatch corrupting pot minion dematerializer tell you anything one way or the other, or not really?
That's right now looking at utility build. When you see the unsealed spellbook, that's a lot of times.
That's kind of what I was thinking about. I'm wondering if it's a red herring and something a little more just for lane.
It can be. So I actually think keystones are important, but really damage or utility comes from your items.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've called for damage items before from Ari. I agree with Nymera, a big Ari fan, that build like Death Cap, build things that do damage. Certainly don't ever build a Crown of Shattered Queen. That kills me. But Everfrost, okay, maybe. I think that's what we see a lot of people go. It doesn't have that same spike of damage. And I have a nasty feeling that Lava might be building towards that with that unsealed spellbook. Again, a ton of utility, but lacking the damage needed, and especially up against a composition that will just inherently outdamage you.
And Lava just bullying Envy under this tower right now, just weaving in the autos very, very nicely, taking advantage of the fact that he's got no mana, right? The only thing Lava has to fear is a tower. Very happy to keep pushing in this lane, forcing Envy into an early recall. He'll burn the TP to get back, but Lava already burned his. Actually, I didn't even realize it initially. I'm like, you don't start with all those items, do you? Like, there's no way to rune page yourself into that garage sale build in your inventory. And sure enough, there wasn't. Pretty simple answer there. In the top lane, a whole lot of nothing here. As I say that, here it just beats the snot out of FNB. He does hit level 6 first, able to go all out should he want to. Does burn the Ghost here. Okay, maybe thought he had a window there.
Not sure about that one. I don't know
Yeah.
what window you're looking for on the Meganar necessarily, and you kind of know how long it's gonna last. It lasts about the same duration as that goes, a little bit longer. So FNB maybe getting a little bit high fee. I hope it doesn't come back to bite him. If he gets ganked, it might become a problem, but there is a lot of mobility within Casanti as well. So I think if FNB just plays it safe, you should be fine in this matchup for now. Trigo actually roaming out from base, not running straight back to lane. To me, that's an interesting choice, and I wonder how much of that's because of the lane state, because the minions had pushed out and they don't feel comfortable against the Aphelios Thresh. With Aphelios, when you see Gravitum, that's one of the most dangerous points, especially if you're overextended, and we've already seen Zai be able to Lantern in Ranger multiple times in game 1. This is a respectful play from Furia, and I think it's the right call.
Yeah, very well said on the Lantern. I was looking for places to kind of talk about the Lantern. I just kept forgetting. Even on that early, that first 1-for-1 trade that we saw in game 1.
No.
That started off with you lanterning the jungle in. Vi charging up the fist here. In goes Furia. And now they actually just turn immediately. They're on to Lava. Or Envy, excuse me. And he gets taken out. First blood over to Natuno. That's what you want to see. Now, Furia does walk away with the dragon. So it's a bit of a trade of things dying in the bot lane. But Furia do walk away with the dragon. 1 kill over Natuno, though.
At level 6, calling Envy a dragon is probably a compliment.
Yeah.
Envy, the fight as well, and Furia has done this last game with their flanks. The problem with the flank is numbers advantage. And we saw this last game with FNB. Los Grandes are just so good at turning and knowing, hey, that's the weaker side, we go and punish for it. And especially against Lava, who is so mobile. When you're the victor, you do need a front line to keep you safe. Walking that direction, I almost feel like for Envy, you knew you were dead. Flash or not, there's just no way you're getting out from that many people collapsing. And Ranger as well has the flash point and click. But I think Furia were okay with that trade. They're saying we value the first dragon more. We don't want to give that over, and it's Infernal Drake the only one that's going to spawn this game. Whether or not that calculation's right, I don't know. Because I think giving first blood to Natuno is a very, very scary thing.
Yeah, and now, to be fair, the only advantage that he has, accrued with it is boots, right? That's pretty much it. So I guess just the gold break point's a little awkward right now. So in the immediacy, not going to... Holy smokes, Zai! Blind hook! Are you kidding me? Is that Carrier? What in God's green earth was that?
Zai wants to prove he's the best rookie. But Ayu's trying to make a case of his own.
Yeah, and Zai still lands another one here. The return ult from Ranger. He might go down, though. Okay, so Goot and Ayu do respond. Actually, very, very well. I thought that was doomed. But Zai... over the wall. Hello? We need to get a replay of that.
And that's just experience. They had vision of where Envy was moving out from the lane.
Yeah.
But that was just instincts. And to kind of say, okay, we know this. Just going blind. Take it. Just bullying out Trigo. And again, expected. It depends on what guns you're running. Jinx is never really expected to win the 1v1. She's more of a team fight carry. Now, in regards to the 2 deaths in the mid lane, let's talk about value there. Because Envy going down is a win for Los Grandes. Even with the answer back onto Ranger. Ranger is Maokai. You're low econ. If you die and trade a kill over, definitely worth. Whereas Envy's missing CS in that mid lane. Heck, even Goot and Ayu didn't get to pick up that CS because they were actually actively trying to kill Ranger. So Los Grandes still ahead on that play. It's not a huge advantage, but small ones do add up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like you said, it's not a lot, but it's reflected in the gold, right? And the fact that you're down a dragon as well, that's about the advantage you would expect. No towers down. Herald hasn't had any shenanigans, excuse me, going on around it just yet. But yeah, this sort of lead is what you'd hope for. But I circle back again that this might be something that pays off a little bit later, because just looking at power across the board here, lane to lane, looking at the inventories, you're not really ahead all that much. So it's just what you can do around vision and tempo at this point. Wow, really good. Okay, actually, he went over his own minions. Oh, Zai, very good flay. Immediately seeing that out of Ayu, and just got Rakan to waste his ultimate.
And the way Trigo was stepping up there, that is either illegal or all planned. The cleanse was available, but they had to burn both cleanse and flash, and I'm not sure that bait was worth it. Goot wasn't in position, wasn't ready, so there really was no follow-up. And now we saw Natuno bully out Trigo in the 1v1. Herald's about to spawn, and that's going to give Los Grandes a bit of an advantage. They want to start roaming out. The 1v1 would favor Natuno bot side.
Yep, beautiful. You see the jungler on the other side of the map. Start the objective on your side. That is League of Legends 101. Ranger continuing to have really good early games. so far here. Goot, right? He did get himself a kill, right? It was junglers getting kills on supports, so he's doing fine just now. And I think you just got to give your credit to Zai there. He started that fight, and then Goot or Ayu got a little trigger happy, and even that didn't work, right? He didn't even land the ultimate. Zai, again, just really impressive stuff from this kid, man. We're gonna keep beating this drum because it's worth beating.
Yeah, and both these supports are rookies this split. And it was a tough call for us to decide which we thought was rookie of the split. I think Zai benefited from working with Netuno, who has been, MVP for multiple games. And Ayu, unfortunately, coming in partway through the split as well, I believe it was week 5, didn't have the full time of the split to show his stuff. But definitely the focus, at least, of a lot of these roams, I think almost more pressure than the junglers at this point with how they've been moving. And as we say that, Zai, once again, hand in hand with Ranger and Lava, this roaming death squad. You'll love to see it from Los Grandes. And to me, that shows that Los Grandes is aware of how their comp wants to function. They are aware that, hey, if this goes super late, we can't match damage. So let's take advantage of the early game, the mid game, where we've got this power spike, where we've got this mobility spike.
Yeah, just to disclose my own voting, not that this, I feel like an NBA writer who voted for one MVP instead of another. Like, if Ayu had played the whole split, I would have given him rookie of the split. Right? Assuming he didn't just play the first 8 games and just absolutely turbo sprinted, I would have given him rookie of the split. But Zai had more consistency across more games, and to me, that mattered. And it's unfortunate because, yeah, Zai probably got robbed of a rookie of the split in some respects, but if he keeps playing like this, he's going to find plenty more success, believe me. And look, the fact of the matter is that this one included, they are 3 best of 5s away from a title. Wow, that's so many. The lower bracket gauntlet is, as soon as I said that, I was like, that's just so many 4x4. That's a long road ahead. Lava looking for a flank. They're looking for the collapse here. It's 5-on-5 in the dragon pit. Furia trying to grab themselves their second dragon of the game, and indeed they do. Lava lands the charm there onto Envy, but now they collapse on the weak side. FNB does go down. It's a 4-on-4. Furia take the high road out of town. Zai not able to find anything. Lava misses the charm. So they got their paws onto Envy there, but it wasn't enough.
Another one for drag here that Furia are willing to take the trade for. Yeah, and I think Furia are happy with this particular trade. Dragons are worth more than the individual kills, and you could see the call they made as well. Another hook from Xylands.
Yep, and the charm is there to follow up. Is the damage enough? Though, as the gravity well goes down.
No shot.
Envy does get the kill traded back onto Lava. Very well played on this Victor. Just chaining out his spells one at a time, being very, very patient. Grabs himself a kill. Man, did he need that.
Yeah, Envy was not happy with how last game went. No. He decided, I'm turning this on 1v3 and walks away with the 1 for O as well. That roaming death squad we were talking about, Ranger, Lava, Zai, not working into the mid lane. And that is a massive example and an issue for Los Grandes now that the mid lane can kind of hold his own. Envy can be a sticking point for Los Grandes in the middle of the map.
Yeah. No, you draft Victor to be a steady Eddie, right? You need a known quantity in that mid lane. And he was in danger of losing that. Right, as the Herald does come down, some plating gold going over to somebody, I guess, as we crest the 14-minute mark. Just kind of dropped that one off like an elementary schooler at school. That awful. My extended metaphor game has not been good today. Zai lands another cheeky hook here, and man, if Lava had the charm, right, if they would have coordinated that better, maybe you can chain that CC and grab a kill, and someone doesn't die.
Yeah, and even then. The problem is with that roaming death squad, Lava is the damage. Look at what Lava built. Everfrost, not straight damage.
Hey, it's not Crown. Yay!
True, it's not Crown. It's not the worst possible option. But you're seeing the lack of damage to actually be able to finish off these kills. Ayu and Goot just waiting off on the side, daring Los Grandes to go in. And Los Grandes, they're spending an inordinate amount of time on Envy. Envy is a problem. Yes, Envy is a threat. But why not go for Trigo? Trigo would not be able to survive these dives.
No. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's it's not an Ezreal, right? It's not a Xayah. The only oops button you have is a cleanse. Right? And you're not raining down rockets from distance. That is actually, you point that out. That is a little surprising because both these supports, right, as you should on things like your engaged supports, you want to act like a second jungler, right? but not able. Actually, okay, Envy hitting level 11 here. Going to trade some damage there onto Lava. And if he steps up, Good is going to try and punish that. He does just that. Ults right in. The damage is enough. Didn't even need a mythic item because Good had a Black Cleaver. That'll do it.
True. And also, we've seen Envy's damage. Lava doesn't have tanky items. As I say that, I realize there's a stopwatch, but Lava just didn't have the opportunity to press.
But still, he only had a lost chapter, right? I mean, he didn't have a completed mythic item.
Well, Envy's already killed Lava once in lane in a 3v1 situation, so they know exactly how much they can bring to the table. And the efficiency of the ganks as well, 4x4. Lava had to bring Ranger and Zai to not succeed. Whereas Envy just needs Good to walk by. That's the strength of the buy on a single target. And for Los Grandes, we kind of didn't mention this, but we said when Vi got picked, it's great against mono threat compositions. Los Grandes kind of drafted themselves in mono threat composition. Lava is not going to be that huge damage threat. Here it could potentially do a lot of consistent damage, but really it's all about Natuno. And Good just needs to kill Natuno. It's a good game for Good to be playing this Vi.
Yeah. And he's 2-0 on it. Doing well in farm as well. Got himself that Black Cleaver. Just such a cost-effective item, and it's going to help out Trigo as well. Vi in this early game, right? I mean, her ultimate it gives incredible utility, but her base numbers and the way that you can get your Q, right? The triple auto, the armor shred. It's a sneaky amount of damage. I feel like people don't talk about that enough, or maybe they do and I don't listen. Los Grandes grabbing themselves their first objective, or actually no, their second objective of the game, to be fair. Ranger has grabbed himself both Heralds, almost able to knock down the mid-tier one with the first one. Let's see what they'll do with the second one. And what Furia will do as a response is get vision on this dragon. Still 20 seconds though, so still time for Los Grandes to respond. Ranger and literally everybody have their ultimates up, so we could see a fight break out here. Do Los Grandes, value this third Drake enough? They are down 2-0 in that department, despite dominance in other areas of the game.
I would expect Los Grandes to contest this. They are technically kind of in their power spike, where Ari's base damages are still very high. Victor hasn't fully skilled up, though, as we've seen, Envy does hurt. The fight actually is Good playing aggressive, wanting to find someone. And Furia, the other person to highlight is Trigo. Kraken's Slayer completed, but not fully online in terms of team fighting either. So this fight could really go either way. Furia, I think the focus is on Dragon, but what might they lose? Herald dropped into the mid lane as well, and Los Grandes have full control on that mid side.
Yeah, they do just that. Ranger not going to contest it, and they're fine with not contesting it because they're going to get something out of it. Phenomenal, right? That's what you got to use Heralds for. They're going to get 2 charges out of this. Look, down 3-0 in Dragons is never somewhere you want to be. I don't care who you are, but if you get that out of it, when you have a lead, you still give yourself opportunities and win conditions to play the game.
Yeah, incredibly well played.
And here it got the top tier 1.
Yeah, before he TP'd as well. Really good macro play. Now, Los Grandes does have to be careful. They are a lot of immediate gold currently, but they have a lot of standing out of turrets which aren't terribly healthy, and more importantly, Furia are at soul point. Chemtech Soul, still not the best soul despite not getting nerfed, but then this is 13.5. The Drags, have they been nerfed yet? Either way, it's not the best soul, but it is still a soul. And more importantly, Furia are a scaling team. You've gotten all these outer turrets, or not all of them actually, bot side outer still standing. You've gotten 3 turrets, but a lot of it was through Herald use.
Okay, I was checking the Mythic passive for an Everfrost because I'm a bit of an Everfrost defender.
Okay.
Like I agree with you that it doesn't have, and I was just kind of doing the math, I guess, to see, okay, look, you get 70 AP, you get equal ability haste, 20, 20, and 20 across Liandry's, Ludens, and Everfrost. But you get 80 ability power with Liandry's and Ludens, and it's that passive. It's not the Mythic item passive necessarily, but it's the Mythic item passive for Ludens that you just get way more magic pen. But you do just get a straight flat 10 AP from Everfrost, and I guess is the conclusion that those flat items are, even though they scale up with the more items you get, 1, it's not enough, and 2, because it is flat numbers and not percentage-based things, the value drops off.
Yes, that and also depends on what other items you build with the Ari, and that's why, to me, I'm screaming Death Cap for Lava. Because if you've got the Death Cap, that acts as your multiplier for that base AP amount, which helps a lot. But if you don't get that, and unfortunately most Aris don't, then your burst damage starts to go down in comparison to magic penetration at that point. And also early on, the magic penetration just hurts more
Yeah.
in the beginning when people don't have magic resistance, which is why, again, not a massive fan of Everfrost in terms of straight damage. The utility is great, don't get me wrong.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
still
You
burst
get an
functions in it.
absolutely nasty active ability.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've seen that it's not working out for Lava the way it did with the LeBlanc. And again, as the game goes on, that utility from this Everfrost is going to go lower and lower. You can already see Furia's dive is largely just Goot trying to kill somebody. IU's dive is so fast that the Everfrost is... If the Everfrost catches it, that's more on IU for not being able to get back out. Or somebody else setting up CC. Maybe Ranger, maybe Zai.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, feels like the similar conversation we were having to Natuno taking Ghost over Flash, right? Is that it's tough when Furia has so many either point and click or effectively point and click ways of getting onto your valuable members. Game is slowed down here. Again, both sides kind of identifying early win conditions. 3-1 in terms of towers for Los Grandes, and they've got the 4,000 gold lead. But 3 dragons to 0 means that in about a minute and, 37, 36 seconds, we're going to see a fight. Pretty much guaranteed. Even though, like you said, it's not the most valuable soul, Los Grandes is not just going to give that one up for free.
Yeah, and for Los Grandes, they're on a power spike right now. Hirit has 2 items completed. FNB doesn't quite have the second completed just yet. Natuno as well. IE finished against Trigo with the rapid fire cannon. There's more burst damage available for the Aphelios, especially if you can get an Infernum off on multiple members. If it crits, the fight is already won. So Los Grandes want to try and force a fight as soon as possible. Unfortunately, the only objective on the map is Baron, and Los Grandes is not strong enough to do Baron just yet. We've seen so many teams trying to go for that early Baron. Instead, they've got to wait for 1 minute for that drag to come up. And if Furia, you don't feel comfortable, Furia don't have to take this. They already have Soul Point. They can afford to give 1 in exchange for the time to let Trigo and Envy become an even bigger problem.
Do you have enough time, if you see that the enemy is hard committing to the Dragon, do you have enough time to take Baron? Or is it too risky because they don't need all 5 members down there to take Dragon?
The latter, by far. It's risky for either of these teams. If anything, I'd love to see Furia just kind of go for the standing outer turrets. Mid is...
try to equalize that.
Yeah, and topside is healthy, but if they're going for Dragon, topside is going to be very, very exposed. And if Hirit tries to TP to cover that, well, just kill Hirit when he shows up if you've got 3 or more members topside.
It's completely dark in the bot side river. Scuttle Crab. And, actually, both sides have decent vision on the top side river. Teleports unleashed. Lava has come back with a Shadow Flame. How's that for some flat pen?
I like it.
Yeah. Remember, you got to get into the back line. Trigo does have Cleanse. And Envy, with all the things that you could just drop on yourself, you do make it harder for someone to come in and clean you up. FNB burning his teleport as well. Here we go. It's 4-on-4 right now. Both AD carries a little late to the fight, but not criminally so. See what guns. It looks like blue-purple indeed for Natuno as he's just trying to get things charged up in the mid lane. Push out that wave just a little bit. Okay, blue-red. Infernum.
He probably only has a couple shots of Infernum left. He's just looking for the ult, and it switches after. Los Grandes looking for the engage.
Now let's see here. Abilities going out. The teams are getting antsy. Charging up the Q is Vi. Goot gonna hold on to it though. There go the ultimates. Dragon starting to reset. Ranger into the back line. They take out Goot. The Dragon's gonna go over to Los Grandes, but at what cost? There goes Zai with IU, with the engage. Pops a quickness. He gets out. Hook doesn't land. Zai able to get out of dodge. Got himself a flash just barely, and only Goot is the casualty. A wild, sloppy fight all over the place, but Ranger and company able to stave off the Soul Point, and again, you just kill the other jungler before you could get into a smite fight.
Yeah, and now Los Grandes are running straight for Baron. They recognize that the big ultimates are down. No Chaos Storm, no Rocket, so no attempt at a steal. And unfortunately, Furia, I don't think, realized the threat of this. It's going to be gone long before Furia can respond. And I said you can give up a Dragon if you have Furia. You cannot afford to give up the Baron. Los Grandes now have a massive accelerant for how this is going to kick off. And for Los Grandes, that's it. They're looking for the pick, but the Maokai ultimate, this is why Maokai is still so valuable. Just throw the ult out, and Goot, who was in the front, was now on his own. And beautiful hooks from Zai as well. Multiple hooks throughout this fight. And that first hook onto Goot was really what allowed them to separate them. Now you can see Zai just keeps going in. And the best part of it all, Zai gets out alive. If he had gone down, if Trigo had gone that reset, things could have swung the other way. But because Zai didn't, Furia just couldn't do anything, sat on back foot. Now pushing the top side, which is risky when the rest of Los Grandes could just threaten your mid lane inhibitor turret.
It's been a very hotly contested game on tight margins in this one. Los Grandes still in control, and they little by little are extending this gold lead. Ranger has now got his he's got that Radiant Virtue online, right? These longer, more drawn out fights are going to start to favor Los Grandes. Well, are they? I mean, yeah, you both sides have good engage on both sides. You know, junglers that want to do different things, and Furia just have more damage, even though they both have a hyper-scaling AD carry. Again, right? Envy, he's going to give you more value in the late game unless Lava can find these picks.
I think a lot of the difference between the AD carries right now is just the range. Netuno has more burst than Trigo does. Now, there's the Dark Passage. The Thresh just gives so much value. That's why we're seeing him come back into priority. He's such a hard champion to balance because his kit, the utility makes him feel overloaded anytime his numbers are even close to decent. Hirit, though, top side, just split pushing. We see it in the small cam in the corner there.
Yep.
FNB he has to go answer, but if FNB is missing, then Los Grandes get to threaten on the start. And watch for Zai and his hooks. He's just going fishing. If he lands a hook, that might be a kill. If he misses, that's fine. They just wait for the next wave. They just wait for the next hook.
Hira does have his teleport. He pushed his wave out to his satisfaction. Okay. Still a minute left on that Baron buff. Again, he's got the TP, got himself a Force of Nature as well. Out goes the ultimate from Ranger. Nature's Grasp. Not going to find anybody, and the hook doesn't find anybody either. Lantern available if Lava is in some trouble here, but they're going to pop the Shirelias just in case. And that'll be all she wrote. Yeah, just like you said, they're just kind of going fishing. And with the lead they have and the control they have across all parts of the map, knowing that they have sent FNB to the other side of the map, saying, okay, look, we'll try to find something. If not, great. Nothing lost.
A little bit surprising from Los Grandes, though, that they opted to let that push stop right there. They had another 30 seconds, another wave of Baron power play. Dragon isn't coming up right away, so they actually had time to push that extra wave they wanted and then go for the reset. As it stands, the Baron power play is the Baron plus a turret topside. That's all they got. And I say it's all they got. It's still a gold lead. It's still good for Los Grandes. It's just for Furia, you're buying time. As long as you're slowing down the pace of the game, you're okay with trading some gold for that. And we're starting to hit the point where gold is going to become less relevant. A 7k gold lead is significant, but if we're still seeing it 7k in 5 minutes, Furia are perfectly fine with that. That's a win in their books. And Los Grandes, they're starting to fall off. We saw that in the last fight. We're touching on Netuno being more burst heavy than he is sustained damage. He has picked up a Runan's Hurricane, so we'll be able to do more. But watch just how able Netuno is to actually pump out damage in fights. Because I have a nasty feeling between Goot and Envy, and even Trigo, Netuno is going to spend more time running than he is autoing.
Yeah, and that ghost is gonna look mighty useless. But I think that's fair, right? I mean, the Runans is gonna help with that in these more drawn out fights, but you are a mono damage comp, right? Like you were saying, it is just a Felios. Ooh, the predict hook from Zai not gonna find its mark.
Okay.
Gravity Well and the Chaos Storm coming down from Envy, just trying to soften everybody up before maybe you get FNB here for a response. IU looking for an angle with the ultimate. He's got Flash Ult, Flash W available. LDR online here for Trigo. So he's got 3 items here. The Giant Slayer is going to give him some value, but not as much as you might want. How do you feel about that 3rd item?
I feel like that was a very expensive LDR. One of the reasons why Los Grandes got to push and take that inhibitor turret was because Furia wanted that gold on that inner topside turret for Trigo. So you lost that, and you're losing priority and control over this dragon. You can see Los Grandes just fell back, and Furia, they just weren't in position at all to contest this. Trigo was still coming out of base. So Furia, for that LDR, you just lost an inhibitor turret and a second dragon. For it to have value, Trigo needs to be able to free fire and needs to be able to carry this next fight. So eyes on Furia, and can you do that? A minute's time, Baron coming up. That to me is a critical point. If Furia loses that, Los Grandes might be able to end the game. If Furia win that, then we know that they are well and truly online. And finally, might actually be able to contest because they haven't really won any of the team fights this game.
No.
It's only 3-4. We've hardly had any kills.
Yeah, and even in the one, the closest thing we've had to a true team fight, it was just 1 kill. This was 3-3 for a long time, and it was Good on that 4th dragon just dying because Ranger jumped on him and took the remaining health that the dragon had taken care of the first 3/4 of his health bar. And then he did the rest. Baron on the table here in about 30 seconds. Los Grandes picked up the first one. They got a lot of value out of that. Maybe not as much as RMC would have liked, but still enough to to push the line of scrimmage to the base. And we have seen this, right? I mean, even in last game, they had a bigger lead, did Los Grandes, so it wasn't as kind of slow and controlled, right? They were opting into more fights, but still taking their time in this mid game here. Now Ranger in some trouble here, just straight bounce house. He cannot do anything. Yeah. Ranger was not allowed to press a single button. The Moonlight Vigil goes out from Natuno. Really doesn't do a ton. You're able to take out Goot, but now what? Hirit taking an absolute beating here in the top river. FNB going right over the wall, bit off more than he could chew. Ayu went in to rescue him, but instead using his mobility to get out of this fight. Lava just kind of found himself a kill. FNB. Not sure about that one, brother.
Yeah, that vacation was a scam, which whoever FNB booked it with, that was not the right call. That was not it. And the fight, we had questions about Natuno. Is he going to be able to pump out the damage, or is he going to be running? He was able to pump out the damage. There was no threat on him. Goot burned everything on Ranger. A mistake, and FNB was dealing with Hirit. So Los Grandes get to free fire, get that Baron once again here. And if the last time they could only take a turret, this time they should be able to get at least an inhibitor turret, which means so much more.
Where'd it go wrong, RMC? Okay, fine. I'll ask that question later. In this fight, where it went wrong was, like you said, Natuno. Okay, maybe he's not quite, he's not in as advantageous a position as maybe the Jinx with another damage source. But like you said, he was completely untouched.
Yeah, and you saw Goot right there using the Assault Battery on Ranger. So there was no threat onto Natuno, unfortunately. FNB is the other diver who's supposed to go in and threaten Natuno. They took so long, and that had to be a mistake. Like, I think what happened was they pushed FNB into the wall, and that kind of messed up the distance on it. And because of that, FNB went way further than he actually thought he'd go. And when you go that deep, there's no backup. A minor mistake, a mechanical one. You might even argue like that was a freak accident, but it's going to cost Furia so much in this game. We're now facing a 10k gold lead. I said if they keep a 7k by the time they hit 35, that's fine for Furia. They're okay. They're chilling. But that's not been the case. The gold lead grows, and more importantly, Natuno grows stronger as well. LDR picked up for this Aphelios.
Now he is on 4 items and 4 damage items, just really raw damage items, whereas Trigo with the RFC, okay, yes, it equates to more damage, obviously, but it's safety, right? You're not getting any raw AD off of that. And he's kind of got to, with the cleanse, knows that he has to build his own safety, right? Los Grandes, again, have drafted themselves a much easier to execute front-to-back team composition. And yeah, okay, so I'll flip the question to you again, RMC. I mean, it was... Some things changed, some things stayed the same in this game. Where did it go wrong for Furia this time? Because if you look up at the scoreboard, everything but the gold, you think, okay, they did better this game, but they find themselves in the same position.
Yeah, just a couple of small decisions that they made, which came back to bite them. And props to Los Grandes for really being able to magnify that. I think the first one being trying to trade that topside inner turret for this bot side inhibitor turret. That's giving Los Grandes so much pressure down here. And the second one, of course, being just how they're choosing the fights. Natuno being jumped on.
He gets the cease and desist onto Natuno. Remember, he has no cleanse. He does have flash, so he's able to get out of there. And he is just orb walking right now. They're turning out a ton of damage. Here's going to get the credit for the kill. But Natuno, he's got a shield still. Nothing went wrong for this man. All he had to do was burn flash. The ult did the rest. They're peeling for him really, really well, protecting the president. And the Secret Service agents aren't doing too bad either.
I mean, this ain't any sort of president that we recognize nowadays. This is Rambo as president. He's got his own guns. He's blowing things up. Natuno didn't even have Ghost. The Ghost is not relevant 4x4. He doesn't need sums, but he's absolutely shredding everybody. And keep in mind, this is not a Mortal Shubo. This is not Bloodthirster. Yeah. This is not a safe Aphelios. He is just strictly outputting damage. Goot on this Vi just isn't a threat. Isn't able to take out the mono carry that we said the Vi was meant to do.
Yeah. And it's tough because he clicked, he pressed R. Great. But Natuno kited back well enough to where, like, the distance between Goot and the rest of the team was so high.
Yeah. And the other thing for Furia is, in a lot of these fights, if you look, Los Grandes almost lose somebody. Ranger is low this fight. Last fight we saw Zai got very, very low. The fight before that, it was Hirit who almost went down. Trigo can't get his resets properly in these fights, unfortunately. And with the Jinx, getting excited is a massive part of your team fight. The additional attack speed is what allows you to shred through a lot of these champions. Hasn't been the case. And so it's a game of inches just being magnified. You asked me what went wrong, and I told you just minor decisions, which Los Grandes is magnifying. And that's just happening in all the team fights as well. Every single team fight, Furia is just an inch away from being able to pop off.
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating, right? If you're a Furia fan, like you said. Yeah, credit to Los Grandes for magnifying what were smaller, kind of less visible macro mistakes, right? Again, in game one, we could point to that dragon fight that didn't go too hot, right? You give over 4 free kills early. Okay, yeah, you are fighting everything from, a bad position. And yes, Furia were down gold at every stretch, but the macro, just phenomenal for Los Grandes here, and with less of an advantage, right? You couldn't just beat them with your wallets like you could in game one. I'm running out of good things to say, man. This Los Grandes team has turned over a new leaf, and projecting forward a little bit, which maybe is a little sacrilegious, but hey, we've got we're not being paid to do this, and we've got a little bit of time in this game, so why the hell not? Teams that play this more controlled style, you're gonna run into problems against a team like a Loud. And they literally are the reason that you are down here in the lower bracket in the first place. So I don't know how sustainable this is in the long term. And he thought maybe Furia would have the tools, the chaos factor again to disrupt this, but it's not the same kind of chaos factor that Loud have.
Yeah, and the coin flip rolls both ways, right? The fact that FMB messed up his coin flip in that fight around Topside River, which cost them Baron. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Maybe it turns the other way, and it's not all doom and gloom. Furia can still come back in the game. The game is actually starting to hit that nice point where Los Grandes are going to start maxing out their items soon, and Furia can still keep scaling. And the innate scaling we've talked about for Envy and Trigo still exists. By the way, I'm also very, very happy that Lava did build Death Cap third, so there is actually damage from this Ari to threaten backline. Great. And still time for Lava to skill, so has 2 more items to go as well. A lot of it will come down to not Barons, but Elder Dragon. Soul is coming up in 2 minutes, but it's Chemtech Soul. We touched on this last game. It's not that amazing. It's Elder Dragon. If Los Grandes can't close up before then, we get the CBLOL flip at the Elder Dragon, and we've seen that go every which way.
Yep, it's 3-3 now. Now you got to fight, right? That's the other part that we haven't really talked about a ton is Furia has just been letting these dragons go, and okay, to a certain extent, you can, right? Like you said, the Chemtech Soul, not super valuable. Stacking Chemtech Drakes, okay, whatever, right? But they weren't able to take advantage with the early dragon stacking that they got. If you would have looked up, you would have thought, oh, maybe Los Grandes were the team that were dragon stacking because they give themselves that cushion to be able to fight better. Furia, here comes a little mini CBLOL flip around the Baron.
Yeah.
Here comes the TP again. Rangers taking up the entire river with that ultimate. Zai gonna land a hook there onto FNB. He's not gonna be able to go all out. The CC chain is too long. Zai has so much CDR. He gets 2 hooks off, not in one fight, but in one smidgen of a fight. He can't do anything. He is excited, but for what? Excited to die? Trigo can't do anything. They run right over him. Natuno, like I said in the chat, man. No flash, no hope, just 100% gameplay, just vibes. Natuno with the ghost runs down Furia and are within a game now of running them completely out of the playoffs.
Are Furia tilted? Because that Baron call, that was not a small micro mistake on decision making. That was a